But listen, I will listen to what you have to say, because what you've been saying over the last couple of years is proven once again to be true. LeBron James will not play for an NBA title this year. Whether or not he will in the future, we don't know. But let's get to our list. He almost had a quadruple double, which isn't a good thing, because the turnovers were there, but he also, the points, rebounds, and assists were there as well. Grade his performance, so overall grade for LeBron James in Game 6. What is it, Skip?
I'm going to give LeBron a break today, because he did have a triple-double, including 19 rebounds. So I'm going to give him a D-, and that's D as in dog minus.
That is a break. I thought for sure you had him for an F-.
The stat of the night, as you said in your setup, was that he did almost have a quadruple-double. In a do-or-die game on the road, a game that people had favored them to win from the start of the playoffs, LeBron James had 9 turnovers. And what shocked me the most was that at least 6 of them were shockingly unforced errors. They had nothing to do with defensive pressure, and they just took the heart out of his Cavaliers, I thought, because I saw a Prince James that once again was crumbling under the pressure and the expectations to be King James. And I want to point out, Jay and Rob, that the Cavs cut it to 4 with 8:37 left. And that was
back-to-back threes.
Because he made a couple of threes. Now that broke an 0 for 10 three-point string for LeBron. And the second one was about as awkward-looking a three-point shot as I've ever witnessed. But it did go in. And all of a sudden, Rondo is feeling the heat from LeBron James and misses 2 free throws.
Absolutely.
And LeBron comes right down and turns it over for the 8th time again and crushes the momentum, and it swings the other way, and eventually Pierce hits the three-pointer, and it's over. In the last 8 minutes of that game, LeBron James, the 2-time MVP, took 3 shots total. He ran from the ball way too much. One of the shots he made, which was an uncontested dunk. And yet, in the last 2 minutes, Rob Parker, I saw LeBron James give up, and in turn his team gave up.
The whole team did,
They all just said, okay, if you're giving up, we'll stop. We won't foul. And this was in a way that I could never have imagined a Michael Jordan or a Larry Bird or a Magic Johnson or even a Reggie Miller giving up with the game still a little bit in the balance.
For any winner.
Anybody.
Because you're right, Skip, from that standpoint. I have him as a C-, because I thought the turnovers were just crushing. You know, I understand the other points, the rebounds, that's all
The
fine.
shooting percentage was 8 for 21, which was actually the same percentage the team shot. But you've got to shoot better than 8 for 21.
You've got to shoot better, but you can't be so sloppy with the ball. And I think you're right. There was a definite giving up at the end where the Celtics had missed some free throws. You get them to miss 2 or 3 free throws in a row, you knock down a couple of threes.
Especially with Rondo handling the ball.
There's a chance that you're still in the game.
Absolutely.
I was stunned that they just said, and you're right, but they were signaled by LeBron James, who at the very end, look at where he was. He wasn't touching the ball. He was pushed all the way out. I just thought to myself, he's not engaged at all.
Right.
And
the final minutes,
problem.
it was each time he held the ball, the first thing he thought to do was to get rid of it. Like he
hot potato. It was a game of hot
I think
potato.
you hit the nail on the head. He raised the white flag first, and you could see it. You could see it when they stopped fouling. The whole team put the white flag up. It was something. I think everybody was stunned as they watched that. All right, how much damage did LeBron James do to his reputation with this series of basketball?
Look, obviously, for me, as you well know, all too well, it just confirmed everything I've been saying about him for 3 or 4 years on this show. And so much of it I've been criticized for because I've been unfair and over the top when I talk about LeBron James. And so, Jay, just let me say, for the record right now, I'm offended when people dismiss me as a hater. I don't like that term when it comes to LeBron. If you want to use it in the big picture, that's fine.
And it's used towards you a lot,
okay,
when it comes to LeBron James and others, too.
As God is my witness, I don't hate LeBron. I don't know him well. You know him better than I do. But I get the feeling he's really a good guy, nice guy. Maybe he's too nice of a guy. But please don't kill the messenger, because all I ever do and have tried to do from the start with LeBron James is just watch closely and tell the truth about what I see. And truth is, from the start, I saw Batman talent, supreme talent, the biggest talent I've ever seen in the NBA. But the intangibles are much closer to Robin. He's Robin more than he's Batman. He's Pippen more than he's Jordan.
I think that's a legitimately fair point. If I may speak for those who throw the arrows at you when it comes to haters, answer this, because I think this is something that a lot of folks that listen have a problem with. we understand that there are shortcomings in the game. It's obvious. If you watch him as closely as you have, they are there. But the D- is to automatically dismiss a line, Skip, 27 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists. Now, yes, the turnovers are inexcusable, and the shooting percentage was pathetic, but a D- implies that he is the worst student in the class. That's where I think those that come at you with that hater line, I think that's the problem that they may have.
We're back to Michael Jordan. I feel like he begged this comparison because he did choose number 23, and he's going to change to 6 next year, but he did steal the powder throwing routine, and I thought he shamed the number 23 the last 2 games, and that's my legacy for him right now because that's all I have to go on. But
well, you have other games to go
I know,
on,
but he was lifeless in those last 2 games.
That's fair.
To the point I'm saying he's the fake MJ. He's the 2-time MVP with 2 times the best regular season team by far to me, and the prohibitive favorite going into the playoffs. And twice now I've gone, okay, I'm going Orlando in 6 last year over Prince James.
You got them both.
And then I'm going Boston in 6 because he can't stand up to the pressure. The higher the expectations, the worse he performs.
Right. Now this is, you know, you talk about damaging his reputation, and I think he did damage it, especially the Game 5 was even more, where people just really lost their minds on what he was doing and couldn't put a finger on it.
A lot of head scratching to the disconnect.
To the disconnect.
Wasn't there.
Totally. I think today people should appreciate Michael Jordan more than ever before because, and I'm not saying it's LeBron's fault, because people always want to make a comparison, totally, Skip, to Michael Jordan. And when you look and now start to compare the notes, how hard it is to win and what it takes other than just pure basketball talent, which we know LeBron has, it tells you about that gene you always talk about that Michael has, that you got to question now whether or not LeBron really has it.
I think those questions are fair.
And I think this is what I got. Just 2 minutes ago, I'm in the cafeteria. Young 20-year-old black guy who is a LeBron fan, and those are all the people, Skip, who you hear from who are all on LeBron's the greatest, said today for the first time, you know what, I think I'm going to be off this bandwagon. He is not Michael Jordan. And I think people are going to finally buy into what you've been saying for a long time.
Let me bring something up quickly, because you have always made the contention that it was LeBron who welcomed that upon himself. Truth be told, he was the chosen one, as dubbed by Sports Illustrated. The mass media, Skip, from the time this kid was 15 years old, was saying, as we so unfairly and often do, here he is, the next one.
I don't believe that LeBron James discouraged those.
No, he didn't discourage it, but at 16 and 17 and 18-year-old, do you know how to do that?
Okay, what we've seen now, period, end of story. LeBron James was made for the regular season. He's a regular season dynamo. He's made for our Sports Center plays of the night because he's always #1 in the regular season. But come postseason time, he's the most overrated, overhyped superstar in my history in this business. Seriously. That's my bottom line to this discussion.
That's a very fair, I would say that's fair. I would say that's fair.
He doesn't have the...
With the regular season accolades, we just haven't seen it where we need to see it to this point.